Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you all had a very good New Year and Christmas. Now I was supposed to be doing a video last week, but unfortunately I had the very well-known man flu, so of course I was dying. But today I'm looking at the Redmi 10. I've had this for about a week and I've been using it on and off, so here is my experience using this phone. So if I quickly talk about the design of the phone and then I'll go on to the software and other specs of it. Okay, so up front you get a 6.5 inch Full HD display with a 90Hz refresh rate, and then up in the top centre of the phone you have an 8 megapixel selfie camera which can take 1080p video at 30 frames per second. In terms of the actual quality of the selfie camera, it's not great. It kind of reminds me of the Redmi Note 9 that I reviewed all the way back. I think it was one of the first phones that I reviewed, and I remember saying then that the selfie camera on the Redmi Note 9 was really bad, and this definitely does remind me of that. Especially when there's a slight drop in lighting, I do notice that the quality deteriorates quite quickly. But as for the rest of the display, really slim bezels on the front, and it's very smooth, typical MIUI experience. And it is running Android 11 with MIUI version 12.5.1, so it's nice and up to date, but whether it's going to get an Android 12 update, we'll have to wait and see. But being at the very low range of the budget segment from Xiaomi, it might be one of the last ones to get an update. And of talking about it being budget, I did find it at a very low price of £159 on Amazon. Unfortunately, I haven't managed to find it any cheaper than that, and it looks like the prices on Amazon have jumped all the way up to £259 for this phone, which personally I think is far too much for what you're getting. But in terms of RAM and storage, I've got 4GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, which is smack bang in the middle because you get a 4GB and 64GB model and a 6GB and 128GB model as well. So 4GB of RAM, obviously these days is quite small, but for a budget smartphone it is about right, and personally for me it's been absolutely fine. I've not had any issues of apps closing in the background or anything like that. So if we go on to the back of the phone, it's a typical plastic affair with your quad camera setup there, which consists of a 50 megapixel primary camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and then two 2 megapixel depth and macro cameras, and then you've got your LED flash as well, and a little bit of branding on the bottom there. That top camera, although it says 50 megapixel camera right next to it, that is in fact the ultra wide camera, which I thought was a bit strange. If you're going to slap 50 megapixel camera text next to one of the lenses on the camera, you would have thought that would have been the main camera, but apparently not. On the bottom of the phone you get a speaker, USB-C charging port which supports 18 watt fast charging, and then a microphone, and then up the top you get a headphone jack, another microphone and another speaker. So you've got dual firing speakers at this price point, which is quite nice. And then on the left of the phone you've got your SIM tray, and on the right is your volume rocker with your power button with integrated fingerprint scanner, which I have found to be pretty responsive. So yeah, it's not too bad. So the money that I paid for it, it is a pretty good phone for everyday use. Now let's quickly talk about the camera. So as I said before, the phone is headlined by a 50 megapixel primary camera, which has the standard pixel binning technology, so you get 12.5 megapixel photos by default. Now this was an interesting outcome what I found with the few pictures that I did take with the phone. Now the main camera, I found that the colours were a lot more flat than what the colours came out on the ultra wide camera. If you look at these two photos here, the main camera captures a decent amount of detail. HDR unfortunately doesn't do a particularly great job with this photo. It does make the sky look a little bit blown out. And when you switch to the ultra wide, obviously you lose detail from being only an 8 megapixel camera, but you do find that they are a little bit more saturated, and personally for me they were a little bit more pleasing to the eye. These two selfie photos that I took, because of the bright daylight, these photos have come out pretty good, and then even switching to the portrait mode, there is a good amount of subject separation, so there's a nice bit of blur in the background and then focusing on my face, which is pretty good as well. So there's just a few examples of photos from the camera. Let me know if you want me to do a bit more of an in-depth camera test of the Redmi 10, and I'll see if I can put that together for you. And as for processing power, the Redmi 10 comes with the MediaTek Helio G88 processor, which is absolutely fine for everyday use. I didn't find any stutters or freezing or unexpected closing of anything. So if you want something that's absolutely fine just for everyday use, if you're just an average user, a bit like what I am, then this thing is going to be absolutely fine. It's pretty good. Nothing spectacular, nothing groundbreaking, of course, but then you can't expect that at this price. So that's just my quick little look at the Redmi 10. I can do, like I said, more in-depth looks at the camera and doing a bit of video if that's something that you want to see. But do let me know in the comments, and let me know in the comments what you think of this phone so far. Do you have one, or is there something else that you would look at getting instead? So again, thank you for watching. I know it's been a little while since I posted my last video, so please bear with, and I have got some more videos coming up in the coming weeks. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel and check out some of my other videos on various phones. I've got a lot of Motorola devices if that's what you're into, so check out those as well. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.